Welcome back, everybody. We're diving deep into Pretty in Pink today.
Oh, a classic.
It is. But we're not just looking at the surface, the romance.
Right.
We're going beyond that.
Okay.
To really explore those deeper themes and symbolism.
Interesting.
We've got a great movie review to guide us, so let's jump in.
Sounds good.
One of the things that struck me from the review was how they talked about Andie's style. Like how it's so unique and distinctive.
It is. I think it's fascinating how the film uses fashion, especially with Andie, as this visual language. Mm-hmm. It's not just about, looking good. It's really about her crafting an identity.
It is. And the review praised her look, calling it almost like a form of rebellion.
Oh, yeah. Especially in that high school setting.
Right.
Where everyone's trying to fit in.
Yeah.
Clothing can be such a powerful tool for self-expression, especially during those teenage years when you're figuring out who you are.
Right. Exactly.
What you want to project to the world.
Andie's style, with all the vintage finds and DIY creations.
Yeah.
It really speaks volumes about her independent spirit.
Absolutely.
And her rejection of those materialistic values of the wealthy clique.
Totally. She's like saying, I'm going to define myself, not let others define me.
Exactly. That's so powerful, especially in that context.
It is, and this ties into the film's exploration of class conflict.
Oh, definitely.
Which, resonates just as strongly today as it did back then.
For sure.
It's not just about money.
Right.
It's about those social barriers that exist between different groups and how they can impact relationships, opportunities, even self-perception.
The review really highlighted how the movie doesn't shy away from portraying that tension.
Oh, no, it's right there on the surface.
It makes you think about those universal experiences.
Yeah.
Of feeling judged or excluded based on where you come from or what group you belong to.
It's timeless in that way.
It really is.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got to talk about Duckie.
Oh, Duckie, yes.
The review mentions his memorable performance.
Yeah.
Particularly that Try a Little Tenderness scene.
Oh, it's iconic.
So iconic.
But his character, there's more to it than just, comic relief.
He's definitely more than the funny sidekick.
Right.
Like his unrequited love for Andie adds this whole other layer of depth and heartbreak to the story. Mm-hmm. What do you think about his persistence, though?
It's interesting, right?
Yeah.
Because sometimes it borders on obsessive, and it really raises some questions about friendship.
Okay.
And the boundaries of loyalty.
Yeah.
And just the sometimes painful reality of unrequited love.
It's true.
He represents that friend who's always there, even when their feelings aren't reciprocated in the way they might hope.
It's like a reminder that sometimes the greatest acts of love involve letting go.
Yeah.
Accepting that happiness can come in different forms.
It's a tough lesson, but an important one.
Absolutely. Let's shift gears for a second.
Yeah.
To something that I think really elevates the emotional impact of any film.
Okay.
The soundtrack.
Oh, yes. The soundtrack.
The review praises Pretty in Pink's soundtrack, and for good reason, right?
Absolutely. It's a perfect blend of new wave and pop and those classic 80s anthems.
It's like the music becomes another character in the film.
I agree.
Underscoring those key moments of joy, heartache, everything in between.
And it definitely adds to that nostalgic feeling of the 80s.
Speaking of nostalgia.
Yeah.
What's fascinating is that the review revealed that the original ending was completely different.
Oh, really?
Andie ended up with Duckie, not Blane.
Wow, I did not know that.
Can you imagine?
It's really a testament to the power of studio decisions and how they can, really shape a film's narrative.
It makes you wonder, what the audience perception would have been if that original ending had remained.
Right.
It makes you question. If they chose a more commercially viable ending or one that truly served the story they were trying to tell.
Interesting point.
Did they prioritize a happily ever after over a more realistic ending?
That's a good question.
What do you think? Would the film have had the same impact with a different ending?
It's hard to say for sure, but it certainly would have challenged conventional romantic tropes.
Yeah.
It reminds us that even in a seemingly lighthearted teen romance, there are often deeper forces at play, both, within the narrative and behind the scenes.
Right. Before we get too deep into that, though, I want to talk about the performances.
Okay.
The review, of course, mentions Molly Ringwald. But I think we need to acknowledge James Spader as Steff.
Oh, yes.
He is the quintessential 80s villain.
He is. He really is.
We all love to hate him.
He embodies that entitled, arrogant, rich kid persona, but he does it with such charisma.
He does.
That you almost find yourself rooting for him.
You're right. Even when you know he's in the wrong.
Even when you know it.
And you're right, we can't forget Ringwald.
Oh, no, she's fantastic.
She brought such vulnerability and strength to Andie.
She did.
That resonated then and continues to resonate today.
I agree.
Speaking of Ringwald, we have to mention her iconic roles in other John Hughes films.
Oh, of course.
Like 16 Candles and The Breakfast Club.
Classics.
It's like she became the voice of a generation, capturing those awkward, hilarious, and sometimes heartbreaking moments of teenage life.
Those films are practically required viewing.
I think so, too.
For anyone who's ever, navigated the complexities of high school in those years.
If you're looking for more films that explore those themes of teenage angst and first love, I highly recommend Say Anything.
Oh, another classic.
A classic for a reason.
John Cusack with the boombox.
Yes. The romantic gestures.
Oh, the witty dialogue.
Pure cinematic gold.
It really is.
But getting back to Pretty in Pink.
Okay.
There's just so much more to uncover.
Yeah.
We've only just scratched the surface of its symbolism, social commentary, its lasting impact on pop culture.
And that's what we're here to explore.
Exactly.
We're going to, peel back those layers, uncover those deeper meanings hidden within this seemingly simple story of a girl, a prom, and the choices that shape her destiny.
Love it.
And we're back going even deeper into Pretty in Pink.
Deeper. I feel like we've already uncovered so much.
We have, but there's always more to discover, right?
True.
We've talked about, fashion and social dynamics.
Yeah.
But let's move beyond the characters themselves.
Okay.
And look at how the film uses visual elements to tell the story.
When I think visual storytelling, I usually think of, sweeping epics, action-packed thrillers.
Sure.
Not necessarily a teen romance.
It's subtle, but powerful.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Consider Andie's bedroom. The review describes it as this creative explosion, right?
Yeah.
Clashing patterns, bold colors, her trusty record player always spinning. It's not just set dressing.
Right.
It's a visual representation of her inner world.
So her space literally reflects her personality.
Exactly.
That's a cool detail I never picked up on.
It visually reinforces her individuality, her artistic spirit, and her desire to, break free from those constraints of her social class.
And it's like the opposite of what we see in Blane's world.
Totally.
Like his world seems much more restrained, almost lacking that vibrant self-expression that Andie has.
And the color symbolism, too.
Oh, yeah. The review also highlighted that.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to Andie's wardrobe.
Take, for example, that pink prom dress.
So iconic.
It's not just a fashion statement, right? Right. It's a symbol of her defiance. Her refusal to let her economic status define her.
It's like that pink just pops out against everything else.
Yeah.
Visually highlighting her as an outsider.
Right.
Someone who dares to be different.
Exactly. That pink becomes a symbol of her individuality and her courage to challenge the status quo.
Yeah, it really separates her from the the preppy, almost uniform looks of the wealthy students.
It further emphasizes that social divide.
This is making me want to rewatch the film with a whole new perspective.
Oh, I think you should.
I'm starting to see how much thought went into every visual detail.
It's like a puzzle, and each piece contributes to the larger picture.
Absolutely. Okay, I'm ready for the next layer.
Let's talk about the archetypes at play in Pretty in Pink.
Archetypes, isn't that more of a literary term?
They exist in film, too.
Okay.
Think about it. Andie embodies the classic outsider archetype.
Okay, yeah.
The artist struggling to find their place in a world that doesn't quite understand them.
I see that.
Duckie represents that loyal friend, the jester, who hides his true feelings behind humor.
And Blane would be the Prince Charming from a different world.
Absolutely. Although he's a bit more complex than that.
Right. He's conflicted.
He is. He's torn between his desires and the expectations of his social circle. Forced to choose between conforming to his world and following his heart.
Yeah.
Which, adds depth to his character.
I like that. So, these archetypes give us this framework for understanding the characters.
They do. Even if we haven't lived through those exact experiences, they add a layer of universality to the story, allowing it to resonate with audiences across different generations and backgrounds.
Got it. But what about those metaphorical objects that enrich the narrative?
Give me an example.
Oh, I don't know. I'm starting to see metaphors everywhere now.
Think about Andie's record player.
Okay.
It's more than just a way to listen to music.
Right.
It symbolizes her escape.
Her connection to a world beyond the limitations of her social status.
That's true.
It's her creative outlet, a way to process her emotions and express herself.
Like when words fail.
Exactly.
It's almost like a character in itself.
I agree.
Representing her passion and her dreams.
Similar to how Duckie uses humor as a shield, right?
Yeah, to deflect his true feelings and cope with that pain of unrequited love.
And the film is full of these subtle but powerful metaphors.
Like what?
Even the contrasting settings. Andie's grungy hangout spot versus the polished country club.
Right.
They represent that chasm between social classes.
Wow. Looking back, Pretty in Pink is like a masterclass in symbolism and hidden meanings.
It is.
I completely missed it the first time around.
That's the beauty of film analysis.
It is.
It allows us to appreciate the layers, the nuances, the thought that goes into crafting a, truly compelling story.
I'm ready for more. What's the next layer? It's the subtle but profound existential themes.
Wait, existentialism. Pretty in Pink.
It's there, trust me.
I never would guess.
Think about it. Andie's journey isn't just about finding a boyfriend. It's about defining her own identity and purpose in a world that tries to put her in a box.
Yeah.
Her struggles to fit in, to navigate those expectations, to choose between love and self-respect.
Yeah.
These are all reflections of those existential dilemmas we all face.
So it's not just a love story.
Yeah.
It's a story about self-discovery.
Yes.
And the search for meaning.
Exactly.
I'm starting to see it.
Pretty in Pink delves into those universal questions about who we are, why we're here, and what choices we make that ultimately shape our destinies.
This deep dive is truly making me reevaluate everything I thought I knew about Pretty in Pink.
Good. It's supposed to.
It's so much more than just a nostalgic trip back to the 80s.
And that's why it continues to resonate with audiences decades later.
Yeah.
It taps into those timeless themes of individuality, self-acceptance, the courage to be true to oneself, even when it's difficult.
Wow, we've uncovered so much about Pretty in Pink.
We have.
From symbolism and archetypes to those deeper existential themes.
And like peeling back the layers of an onion, right?
It really is. Okay. And it's a fascinating onion.
But it's more than just, dissecting the film. Yes. It's about understanding why it still resonates.
Why does this film still have such an impact on us after all these years?
I think it's the film's honesty.
Okay.
It captures that raw, exhilarating, and often confusing experience of adolescence. That time when you're trying to figure out who you are, where you fit in. Yeah. And it doesn't shy away from portraying the challenges.
No, it doesn't.
Of navigating social circles, dealing with peer pressure, finding the courage to stand up for what you believe in.
Andie's journey is especially inspiring.
Oh, absolutely.
She faces rejection and judgment, but she never compromises who she is.
She embodies that idea that it's okay to be different.
Right.
To embrace your individuality.
It's like she's giving us permission to be ourselves.
Exactly, quirks and all.
And it's not just about individuality. Right. It's about challenging those social norms that create barriers and perpetuate inequality.
The film's exploration of class differences is still so relevant today.
It really is.
It prompts us to, examine our own biases.
Yeah.
And consider how we can bridge those divides.
Pretty in Pink reminds us that creating a more inclusive and equitable world requires us to acknowledge and challenge those ingrained social structures.
It's a call to action, but presented in a way that's both entertaining and thought-provoking.
Exactly. It's not preachy.
No.
It's about inviting us into these conversations, encouraging us to think critically about the world around us.
That's what makes it such a powerful film.
It does. It sparks dialogue, challenges assumptions, encourages us to consider different perspectives.
Pretty in Pink transcends that typical teen romance genre.
It does.
By offering this nuanced exploration of social issues and personal growth.
This deep dive has truly been an eye-opener.
I'm glad.
I feel like I have this whole new appreciation for Pretty in Pink.
It's more than just a nostalgic trip back to the 80s.
Way more.
It speaks to something universal.
It really does.
About the human experience.
As we wrap up our deep dive,
what's
the one key takeaway you hope our listeners will, ponder as they go about their day?
Embrace your individuality.
Okay.
Challenge those norms that create division and inequality, and never be afraid to stand up for what you believe in.
Even when it's unpopular.
Even when it's unpopular.
Pretty in Pink reminds us that we all have the power to make a difference.
You do.
Both in our own lives and in the world around us.
Absolutely.
Beautifully said. If Pretty in Pink were made today, how do you think these themes might be portrayed differently?
That's a great question.
Given our current, social landscape, would Andie's style be influenced by current trends? Would social media amplify those pressures she faces?
Yeah.
And how would the film address issues like, economic disparity and social justice in today's world?
That's a lot to think about.
It's exciting to think about how this classic story might be reimagined.
It is.
For a new generation, while still staying true to those core themes.
Right. Individuality, self-acceptance, courage to be yourself.
It's a testament to the film's enduring power.
I agree.
That it continues to spark these conversations and inspire us to think critically.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into Pretty in Pink.
It's been a pleasure.
We hope you continue to explore those deeper layers in all the films you watch, discovering new meanings and connections along the way.
Until next time, stay curious and keep questioning.
And never be afraid to rock your own version of a pink prom dress.
Exactly.